Alrighty, guys, the Sony universe of Spider-Man characters is dead. I think. We all think. So here's the deal, right? Because when this all started, this was, I believe, I want to say 2018 when the first Venom film came out. And everyone was like, why is Sony doing this? Why is Sony making all these, announcing all these live action movies and making movies about anti-heroes and villains in the Spider-Man catalog without Spider-Man? What kind of weird strategy is this, right? And then they make the first Venom movie. And the first Venom movie, while critically panned, pretty much, makes over $800 million. And I am one of those people who really enjoyed the movie. Is it, pure artistry and every single scene is oozing with commentary? Oozing, no pun intended. Is it, just dripping with commentary and about the nature of humanity and society and politics and religion? No. It's Venom. It's Venom. But I had such a great time with it. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, maybe there's a chance that this universe could actually be something interesting, right? So the first Venom comes out, and I was on board with it. Pretty good. And then they make Venom Let There Be Carnage. And I was like, okay, maybe not as on board with it as I thought it would be. But, it's still Venom, and the parts about Venom that we like. It's still Venom. So there is that. And then, they hint towards the fact that he's going to be in No Way Home. And so then Spider-Man No Way Home comes out, and he isn't in the film. He's in a post-credits scene that doesn't really pay off anywhere. Okay? And then they make Morbius. And I think I'm on the record of saying, I'm sure I've said it somewhere on this channel before Morbius came out. I thought the first trailer for Morbius was really good. And I still think that, honestly. If you didn't, all the memes about it's Morbin time and just the fact that Morbius was critically panned and everything, but I thought the first trailer was really good. I don't remember a second trailer, honestly, and maybe that's a good thing. But I thought the first trailer for Morbius was really good. Well, Morbius is not good, in my opinion, at least. And then they made Madam Web. And Madam Web is a film that I still have not seen. I still cannot bring myself to see that movie, but eventually I will, probably. And I'm sure when I see it, I'm going to ask the same questions that everyone else did, which is, why? Why? What's the point? And then they made Venom: The Last Dance. And Venom: The Last Dance, in my opinion, is probably easily the weakest Venom film out of the three. And so the question of why, right? The question of why are we making these movies? Well, there's a very simple reason for it. It's a rights agreement. Basically, Sony owns the character of Spider-Man, but is in a sharing agreement with Marvel. And in order to retain the rights to Spider-Man, they have to continue to make these films. Some kinds of Spider-Man films, and I don't know the exact minutiae of the contract, but they have to make Spider-Man movies in some capacity every so often, right? And that's really why they're making these movies. And, you can be cynical and say, oh, all people make movies to make money. And sure, that's the case. But this is, I think, more so, this is a reason why they're making these movies. And obviously, for sure, they would have liked for this universe to have succeeded. It didn't. And so here we are entering Kraven, the week of Kraven the Hunter. Now, I am recording this segment before I have seen Kraven the Hunter, and we're going to talk about my thoughts on Kraven the Hunter, hopefully, right after this, if I can make it, and if the segment can make it into the podcast. Just by nature of how I record the podcast, I need to record the Kraven the Hunter review, if it can make it into this podcast episode later on, because I'm going to see it almost right before this podcast episode comes out, and I'm going to try to, put it into the episode. So, anyways, all that to say, this segment, is going to be recorded right before Kraven the Hunter. So regardless of how I think about Kraven the Hunter, and regardless of how anyone else thinks about Kraven the Hunter, it has been confirmed by The Wrap. And again, it's not like Sony came out and said, yeah, we're no longer making these movies anymore. But The Wrap comes out, and The Wrap is a pretty reputable source in terms of movie news. And they have said what I think we had all been suspecting before. And we talked about this last week when I asked the question of what can Kraven really do at this point, for itself. And The Wrap has reported that the Sony universe is dead. The Sony universe of Spider-Man characters is officially dead after Kraven the Hunter, at least for now. I say officially for now, that's a little bit of an oxymoron, but, the Sony universe of Spider-Man characters is not going to happen anymore because they are not going to be making these movies anymore in this universe. Now, what that says about Kraven the Hunter, I honestly have no idea. Maybe it means that it's a terrible film and they're just kind of getting out in front of it and saying, yeah, we know, we screwed up. I don't know. Maybe. Or maybe this was the plan all along. Maybe it has nothing to do with the quality of Kraven the Hunter. Maybe it just has everything to do with the fact that they knew it wasn't going to make money. It's not going to make money. I'm one of the crazy people who's going to go see it opening weekend. But maybe that's the reason why. Regardless, I think that it's interesting insofar as it's the end of an era, I suppose, of Sony making these movies. And another report says that they are just going to focus their efforts. This isn't really a report. This is more just stating the obvious. They're going to focus their efforts on 3 projects moving forward. Spider-Man 4, great. Please make Spider-Man 4 as good as possible. Spider-Man Noir, which I believe they're filming now, or they just wrapped filming, with Nicolas Cage playing the live-action Spider-Man Noir, and Beyond the Spider-Verse, which I hope is fantastic. So, really, I think in that regard, this is a win. And I'd like, there's no better feeling than watching a film like Venom and expecting the worst and coming out of it and saying this was awesome. It was a great film. So in an ideal world, you're making all of these films and all of them are awesome and all of them are great. And in an ideal world, I go into Kraven the Hunter and I'm like, wow, why did you kill this universe? It's great. This movie's great. You should make more of these. But something tells me that's not the case. And regardless of what I think, they are going to end this universe after Kraven the Hunter. And what a run it was. You had one film that was moderately successful in terms of box office, and the rest were either critically panned, box office, disasters, or both. And that's kind of a sad indictment. So hopefully this means they're just going to continue to focus on the films that, they know have to be good. They can't just, shoehorn a Spider-Man 4 out there and, try to just make it for the sake of retaining the rights. I mean, they know it's in the MCU and they know that they just can't do that. And, Beyond the Spider-Verse, they also can't do that. And Spider-Man Noir is an interesting one. I think that Spider-Man Noir could have a lot of potential. So we will see. We'll see if they ever return to this. I mean, I know there were rumors that they were going to make an Agent Venom film. Again, this is my whole thing with Scoop culture, because the Scoopers were all like they were going to make an Agent Venom film right after this. And I mean, maybe they were, but it seems like they weren't. And so again, just being cautious about all the things that you hear, all the rumors that you hear until they're reported by these big sources. But anyways, that is all aside. And also remember, they were going to make an El Muerto movie with Bad Bunny, which is an interesting thing as well, and they kind of scrapped that. So yeah, we'll see if they ever make more of these movies, but for now, the Spider-Man Sony universe is not happening anymore, at least with the live-action characters. What do you think about this in the comments below? Are you sad to see them go, or are you maybe relieved, or are you, kind of in the middle? What do you expect? Do you think that they'll ever make movies with these characters again? Let me know in the comments down below.